It seems like the FIA is yet again at the centre of attention for all of the wrong reasons. The governing body just can't stay out of controversy, and now that Red Bull has been found guilty of breaching the 2021 budget cap, every team expects the harshest penalty to be applied to the Austrian team. Nevertheless, the breach that Red Bull committed is considered a minor one, meaning the penalty for it will likely be proportional to its minor breach. However, there have been some leaks and threats towards the FIA for the way that they've been handling this situation, and they are going to be explained and elaborated on in today's video. Are you also triggered by the way the FIA is dealing with these things? Do you want to just express yourself on this matter? Squarespace.com is the perfect spot for you. Make sure to check it out. The FIA has finally confirmed, after 300 days from the 2021 season's finale, that Red Bull are guilty of breaching the budget cap. This is a very controversial topic as of now, and the fact that Verstappen won the championship the way he did only adds to the fury and anger that Mercedes, among other teams, are feeling towards the governing body. Because 2021 was such a close and anticipated season, literally every penny counted. Although Red Bull are accused of breaching the cap for 1 to 2 million for sick pay or catering services, according to Hamilton, a new floor that would have cost Mercedes 300 grand would have had a much different outcome to the championship. This is something that Wolff also confirmed, and rest assured that Mercedes is looking for the harshest possible penalty that can be given to Red Bull. But rules are rules, and the FIA will likely play according to them. Even prior to the confirmation of the breach, the FIA's rules were loud and clear, and they said, a breach that is under 5%, more precisely 7.25 million for the 2021 season, is considered a minor breach. Therefore, the repercussions are unlikely to be a deduction of the Drivers' Championship points or Verstappen losing his championship. But what's so controversial about the budget cap breach by Red Bull? Prior to the FIA confirming and making it official, Mercedes came out with a statement saying that Red Bull had breached the budget cap. According to Horner and Ralf Schumacher, that is pure criminality in itself, because the files that are given from the team's financial department to the FIA are strictly confidential. How can a team know about a possible breach before the governing body itself knows whether or not a team has spent more money than it should? Ralf Schumacher spoke about the leak in the FIA, which is truly undermining the authority of the governing body, adding, "Imagine if the Ministry of Finance always kept certain companies up to date on the current status of investigations amongst the competition. That would even be criminal. Everything must be disclosed transparently, and in the event of an offence, the ladies or gentlemen of the FIA must be punished accordingly." What's even more confusing for Ralf Schumacher is the fact that the FIA has now handed out the reports, found the breaches, and confirmed that the teams are guilty of them, but there is still no punishment for the teams that have committed an offence. This has sparked a huge debate among the F1 executives, who believe that the governing body has become more and more untrustworthy and a liability under external pressure. But you know what's not a liability? Squarespace. Squarespace.com offers you the best possible features out there, such as analytics, online stores, or blogging and commenting features. With the analytics, you can use much needed help to grow your business, learn where your site visits and sales are coming from, and analyze which channels are most effective. That way, your channel will never have to deal with delayed growth, as you'll be able to understand where you can make the most improvements. With blogging and commenting features, you can create a community on your Squarespace website. Want to have comments from your friends and your protégés? This is the perfect tool for it. And with online stores, you can sell your products regardless of whether they are physical or digital. Everything is online now, no need to struggle with sales. Squarespace has all the tools you need, so make sure to visit squarespace.com for a free trial. And go to squarespace.com/F1reverse to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now, back to the video. Many experts have said that the sport is turning more and more into politics, rather than on-track action amid the biggest decisions that the FIA needs to make when it comes to the Red Bull breach. What doesn't sit right with many teams, mostly Mercedes, is the fact that the punishment for the Austrian team will likely just be a financial fee. One of the issues when it comes to Red Bull's breach of the 2021 budget cap is that there are so many punishments available, but most of them would cause tectonic shakeups if they are applied. For example, if the governing body decides to take away the championship points of Verstappen, which, although is a real option, is highly unlikely to happen, the Dutchman will lose his maiden championship in the same controversial way he's earned it. Other punishments, such as reduced time in the wind tunnel or reduced budget cap for the Red Bull 2023, will also cause protests from the Austrian team because of the economic situation that the world is currently in. Most of the teams are looking to increase the budget cap due to inflation, and if Red Bull does receive this penalty, rest assured that they won't settle with it that easily. But the most acceptable and logic thing for Red Bull to do would just be to accept that they exceeded the budget cap and pay the FIA a large sum of money, around $10 million. This is part of the accepted breach agreement that the FIA will prepare with Red Bull, and if the Austrian team firmly believes that they are in the right, then the situation will go to a panel that is constituted of 6 to 12 judges, and they will be the ones that will bring the final verdict to Red Bull. Rest assured that if Red Bull does agree to the accepted breach agreement, there are going to be some massive protests from its main rivals, such as Mercedes and Ferrari. But protests are the least of the FIA's worries in this case, and according to reports, there have been some serious threats coming from Mercedes' side when it comes to the budget cap breach punishments. According to Corriere dello Sport, the Brackley-based team has threatened to go well over the budget cap in 2022, just to be back on top, and then pay whatever sum of money the FIA would request them to do so. If Red Bull had gone behind by $2 million, it could close the matter of paying the FIA 5 times, so $10 million. And in any case, it would not be fair because it would sanction the right to cheat by paying an amnesty. Mercedes have already talked about it, and if this were really the point of failure, the star is ready to plan extra budget and related fine to recover the performance and return to the top. On the other hand, there are some team executives that believe that the FIA is doing a good job when it comes to transparency and to handling this situation perfectly well. According to Zak Brown, McLaren's team boss, it's way too early for full transparency mode, and it could only harm the case at this point. I think it's now all about how the FIA handle it moving forward. Everyone's kind of like, well, they haven't had transparency, but it's not over yet. I think we can't judge them on their transparency. It was good that they said it's not coming on Wednesday, it will come on Monday. They were clear. Transparency doesn't necessarily mean I give you all the answers tomorrow. It's I give you the visibility of what's coming. I think we're not done yet, so I think it's too early to judge them until we've seen the final results, said Brown, who continued to praise the FIA on implementing the budget cap and bringing racing closer than ever, adding, "Bottom line is that we've had a dry run for a year. The FIA have been unbelievably collaborative, communicative and clear, and if anything was unclear, then the obligation was on the teams to ask. The FIA have done a really good job on the cost cap, and you can go to them and ask anything. Is this included? Is this not included? And when you go over budget, you go over budget, so it needs to be dealt with swiftly and transparently." With that being said, it's very interesting to see what the FIA will decide when it comes to punishing Red Bull for the breach. What do you think is the next move for the governing body? Let us know in the comments below.